Can you hear me in both spaces? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. On TikTok, you can see like the whole mat and the whole body. On YouTube, we're cozier, a little more zoomed in, but you can get a good view of what's happening all around. So, wherever you are, wherever you're meeting me, come in, come in. Oh, welcome. Hey, Clara. Hey, Katie. How are y'all? Damn, I wish that my camera worked correctly. All right, beautiful humans. Check, check. Can you hear me in both spaces? Yeah. Katie can hear me. Crystal can hear me on YouTube. All right, it's at All Bodies Yoga on YouTube. It's at All Bodies Yoga on TikTok. So you might decide which sound is better. I have one mic for TikTok and one mic for YouTube. I have, unfortunately, cameras in two different places, which wasn't my intention. They're supposed to be right over here. But YouTubers, hey, thank you for being here. TikTokers, same to you. I like that we're hanging out all together. Thank you for being here. TikTokers, same to you. I like that we're hanging out all together. And for our practice today, we'll take a few minutes to settle in, to arrive in this space. I'm going to encourage you to like clear a spot out on the floor. Maybe you're like pushing laundry aside. Maybe uh, maybe your yoga mat's been out for weeks and you haven't been on it, and now is your time. Maybe you're going to practice a fair chunk of this from bed. And if that is you, know that this is a beautiful practice, that 40 at least percent can be done in bed. So meet your body where it wants to be, where not where the ego or society pressures it to be, because those may not even be values you align with. I don't know. Have you sat and thought? But we show up for ourselves without ego because that is where we heal the fastest. That is how we calm the nervous system the quickest. That is how we build the most awareness in our body. And so if you're looking for mobility, we calm the nervous system the quickest. That is how we build the most awareness in our body. And so if you're looking for mobility, if you're looking for flexibility, if you're looking for more ease in your physical body, you're going to find it here with me tonight by stretching it out. We're going to get in deep, especially into the hips. We're going to build a little heat. We're going to play with some postures like Gomukhasana, which is really hard if you have a belly and thighs like I do. But we're going to use props to really learn how to explore it in our physical form, because Gomukhasana looks like you're all wrapped up in a twisted pretzel sitting down with your arms intertwined behind you. And for a long time in my life, I avoided these complex postures. And I call them complex because they are postures that when you cue them only one way for one body type, it is very hard to find said posture. But when you move into, I've got a hair in my mouth, sorry y'all. La, la, la. When you move into said posture with multiple cues, multiple options, multiple ways to arrive there, to explore your physical body, to make room for yourself, however you show up, you find that this practice is so much more powerful, and that shapes like Gomukhasana that are all pretzel-y and twisty, that are very intimidating, that often make us feel shame for our body types, are in fact cool as hell. It's just no one knew how to show us that because society has such a narrow view about the kinds of bodies that deserve to make these shapes. So those views I do not subscribe to here. I welcome you to also liberate yourself from said silliness, because just because it's society's values does not mean they are my values. And showing up as a good human in society does not necessarily mean that I am showing up in ways that honor who I am, what I need, what my community needs. And so here we unravel ourselves from this bullshit and we embrace this and we find that in this space, as we're about to move here and breathe, that all bodies are worthy. We just have to create the awareness for it. We just have to liberate folks from that narrow societal mindset, because all bodies belong in this space. And tonight, or wherever you are, we're going to explore specifically fat bodies, large bodies. So if you've got a beautiful belly like mine, if you've got thick thighs that jiggle, if you've got those sweet arm flaps, I don't know if you've seen that beautiful human that like does that sweet dance with their arm flaps, and they're like, why aren't we using this in our expression of self? Because it's so cool. And hundreds of thousands of people loved it because it is liberating to invite yourself to explore your body exactly as it is. So from wherever you are, maybe you're in bed, maybe you're still at work, maybe you're driving, maybe you're at home, like numbing out because today is not the day. Maybe you're here fully ready to practice. It does not matter how we hang out. By spending time in this space, by gleaning all of the non-stop tidbits of modern science and ancient yoga and somatics that I'll continue to throw at you for this next 40 minutes, you are going to find more acceptance for your form exactly as it is. You will be invited to explore pathways through acceptance towards love, admiration, acknowledgement, all of these things, right? And then in the process, it heals the body's relationship with the mind and vice versa. And we find that we're not just liberated in our yoga practice, we bring this liberation with us everywhere. So before I take a seat, I'm going to encourage you to grab a yoga blanket. I just want to pop in and say, hey, beautiful humans. Ooh, I love it. Tap the screen. Let people know that we're here. The more that you tippity tap on TikTok for my YouTubers, the more that you tippity tap that screen, the more folks hear about the free goodness that's happening on YouTube. Thank you. Like and subscribe. Let's hang out more often. We'll keep posting free classes to YouTube. Ooh, hello. This is my son and the kid from the neighborhood. Y'all can't see him, but they're headed home from hanging out. So props, a blanket. This is a blanket or a bolster. You could grab a pillow from your bed. If you find when you're sitting down on the ground that your low back aches, get 2 blankets. Get a thick pillow. The thicker, the better, right? Exactly, I know. Now, you might grab blocks. This is my favorite tool. Maybe you have props at home, maybe you don't. Books can be a block. A chair, you can't see it on TikTok. A chair can be a yoga block, an ottoman, the side of your bed. Like, I don't care. Like, set up your partner. Like, have them, right, support you. And then last but not least, one of my all-time most favorite tools in the universe to explore my big, beautiful, powerful ass body is a yoga strap. And it doesn't have to be a yoga strap. It can be a dog leash. It can be a robe tie, a winter scarf. Sometimes the softness of it brings a luscious extra layer to our awareness and our practice. So grab what feels good. We're going to start on our butts, seated. And you might take a seat up on that bolster or blanket. The important part is we're just feeling our sits bones, those bony protrusions underneath our butt cheeks, really nestle down into that support. And then notice, maybe we check in with the knees, right? Now, these are joints, they're hinge joints. They're only supposed to go boop, boop, this way, open, close, but our knees go through a lot, right? Because our ankles can rotate, our hips have a full 360 rotation, and so our knees are just surviving in the middle. I don't know why we grew knees, they're kind of funky. So oftentimes they can talk to us. And if that is the case here, extend the legs out. Love the dirty bottoms of your feet. I've taught 5 classes outside today, and I'm not about to scrub myself clean for you all. So embrace what is, make space for your body, and then check in with the belly and the low back. Is there space? If the low back feels like it's taking any effort, this can often be the case with folks that carry tension in the low back, then you might pick up that beautiful belly and lift it atop the thighs. And you can do this even by pulling. I know, you got ready? Boop! Pull the juicy bits out, make space. When I pull my belly out of my pants, instantly I go into a shame spiral. My nervous system contracts, which means it's going into an activated state, and my whole job is breathing space into the stories my brain tells myself, which is, this is disgusting, everyone thinks it's awful, no one needs to see that, right? I breathe space into it and I say, I don't know that that's true. For some people, also living in shame, yeah, but for many people, embracing this is liberating as fuck. And the truth is that when you fully embrace this, you realize that you are so worthy of love from head to toe. We are shedding shame. We are inviting ourselves to see us as we actually are, right? And then the more that we see ourselves that way, the more other people are going to identify that in us as well, because it is undeniable. But we own it through things like releasing the shame that says we're not good enough, that says that we'll not be loved, right? That we're not worthy. We let it go. Even if our body is saying otherwise, right? Even if our mind is telling stories, we just counteract that. So the first thing we do, I'm chatting a lot, is say, brain, shut up. My belly is beautiful. Touch it if it feels nice. Give it a massage. Now you can go, if your tummy is a clock, if people could look at your tummy and see the time, you are going to massage your tummy clockwise. So from the left side, this is my left side, believe it or not. On TikTok, I think I mirror and other places not. Over, finding a pattern that honors your digestive tract. So the first thing we do is just hold space for all the things that our mind says, all the tapes that it plays. They're automatic. They're not truth. They're trauma. And so we let them go. We say, yeah, I know that's not true. I'm beautiful. I may not feel it in this moment, but I know it in my mind, and I'm just going to hold space for it as truth. The second thing that we're going to do is that nervous system that is activated because of shame, right? In this fight, flight, fawn, or even freeze if it gets into this space for a while. So this nervous system is activated by shame, and to bring us back down into a state of embodiment where I can think with my frontal lobe, where I am not being driven by the programming that I have received from birth, but I am choosing to think thoughts that align with my values, to be aware of my thoughts so that I can understand, what thoughts are truth and what thoughts are that programmed bullshit. And so we breathe space into the physical body to calm the nervous system. And when you breathe deep into the belly, let it stick out, let it widen, fill it up all the way, let it go. When we breathe space into the belly, we're doing vagal toning. We're stimulating the ventral vagal nerves on that inhale. And polyvagal theory tells us that when the vagal nerves are stimulated, our parasympathetic nervous system comes online and it calms us down. It brings us from this activated state down into embodiment so that we can think with our frontal lobe, so that we know what is truth and what is just stories we're telling ourselves, so that we can think peacefully in the midst of the storm, and so that we can release shame because we know it's not true. So each deep inhale calms the body. That's the ventral vagal. It runs through the diaphragm, all through the low intestine, down into the pelvic bowl. And that's why these deep inhales, stretching the muscles, stretching the fascia, the tissues, bring that stimulation. It's just this easy. I know, isn't that crazy? So we breathe space into the belly. We release any shame that bubbles up. Bodies are all different. Your belly is a beautiful part of your body. It works hard to hold your organs in, to support you. Maybe it's carried children, maybe it's experienced trauma, We stretch the ventral vagal nerves with each inhale. And then the cool part is, it's not just the ventral vagal that's being stimulated here. The vagal brake, which is another one of the vagal nerves, that's why we call it polyvagal, many vagal theory, is that the vagal brake runs in the same direction as the ventral vagal down, but it stops at the heart. And when you take big slow in the same direction as the ventral vagal down, but it stops at the heart. And when you take big slow exhales, let's do it together. Deep inhale when you're ready. Nice slow exhale. The vagal stop, or the vagal brake, excuse me, is stimulated and the heart rate slows. Let's do that again a few times. Deep inhale. Nice slow exhale, releasing all the air from the body. The muscles on the side of the throat constrict as you exhale. The vagal brake is stimulated, the heart rate slows. If you know where to find your pulse here, like here is the trachea, and then you're going to slide your fingers towards one side or the other. And we don't use our thumb, we use middle and pointer finger or any other fingers. The thumb has its own pulse. Find your pulse here. Feel it. The rhythm in your fingertips. Just observe with your natural breath and thought what your pulse is. Take a moment to become aware of sensation, that beating rhythm. Now take a deep breath in. A nice slow, elongated exhale. As you exhale, notice what happens to the rhythm of the pulse. Try it again. Deep inhale, stretch the ventral vagal. Exhale, nice and slow. Stimulate the vagal brake. A few more times. You might even imagine your heart rate slowing as you exhale, bringing ease to the whole of the body. The work that we're doing here is called pranayama. In yoga, it's literally called energy work. Prana is also breath, energy. They mean the same. We're creating awareness. We're creating ease in our nervous system, all with breath and intention. All right, we've made room for the belly. Whew, I'm just gonna pull up my pants because we're gonna forward fold here in a moment and it's all just gonna hang out, which is beautiful. Do you. Practice naked with me, I don't care. From here, a big forward fold. Now, normally forward folds are cued big toes together or hip distance apart in staff pose. And then you find your length, and you might do this with me. Press those sits bones down into the earth and then lift through the spine. I like to say there's a bungee cord from your tailbone all the way up through the top of your head, and it stretches, and you're just going to give it a little stretch. Just a gentle one as far as it feels like going, lengthening through the neck, pressing up through the top of the head. Take a deep breath into the belly, and on your nice slow exhale, melt the shoulders. Beautiful. Your next deep exhale, we're going to forward fold, nice and slow. And when we fold, we're not here to round the back in cat. Let me show you. When we fold, we don't fold at the heart center. We're not bending here at the solar plexus and rounding the back. Every forward fold, unless cued otherwise in yoga, is done hinging at the hips and melting forward. And we're stretching all through the back body. So to do this, you might notice as my belly hits the top of my beautiful thighs, my back automatically starts to round, right? I no longer have space. Now, I might absolutely have range of motion in my hips, but my body is not going to find that because no one has offered me an opportunity to make space for my body how it's shaped. And so go ahead and roll back up. We're going to widen our feet, not wide enough for like a wide-legged forward fold or a split, but wide enough to make space for the belly. And then on your next inhale, find that bungee cord length one more time. And as you melt forward, make space for the belly. And I like to invite it, right? Pull it gently between the thighs as you melt. And then look what happens. See my back? My spine can stay nice and long. And you can even bend the knees, open them up wide, melt the belly into this bigger open space. Oh, yeah, there are so many tricks to loving on our big bodies that yoga teachers just don't know because we think that big bodies are bad. Oh my God, big bodies are precious. They're powerful. Holy shit. You can lift strong things. You're so snuggly. You're gorgeous. You can shake ass like nobody's business. Love it. All right. So we open up the knees wide. We lower the belly down with the heart so the back stays nice and long. And then lengthen those feet out once more. It's just a trick for making extra space to tuck the belly in. And then you might notice, oh my gosh, I can touch my toes. I have so much more range of motion. Yeah, you always have. It's just no one allowed you to make space for your body to explore your range of motion. Yes, beautiful. From here, we're going to lower the head down towards the earth. Find the C shape finally in the spine. And then press through the back of your heels. Bye, baby boy. My youngest boys are leaving. Bye, sweetnesses. Have such a great time. They're going to go to the state fair or the county fair. So I'm super excited. They're going with their dad. I am here with you all. So lowering the heart and the belly, lowering that head, and then slowly curl up vertebra by vertebra, pressing through the heels, using the strength down through the heels to help lift the core of the body. Otherwise, you're just using the muscles of the low back, and that can be really hard on us. So every time you rise up from any forward fold or any squat, you are going to press down through the anchors in the earth and check in with the feet first. My heels are the anchors. They're what's planted in the earth. And so as you rise up, press down through the heels. This engages the muscles of the legs so that the legs are supporting the low back as those muscles lift you. You will find so much more ease. We will continue to explore our body with this awareness because it will change not just how you practice yoga, but just how you exist as a human being in your personal form. And all it is just exploring with lots of variations and options without any shame, because we deserve that and we always have. We have always been worthy. All right, I've been chitter-chattering, but exploring this in our big bodies is one of my favorite things to do. So from this big forward fold, on an inhale, you might sweep the arms up and overhead. As you exhale, press out through those fingertips, lower the hands back behind you, pressing those fingertips or pointing those fingertips away from the body. And you can lean back on your hands. You can bring some ease to the shoulders and grab blocks. Like there is no reason. You might instead interlace the fingers at the back instead of leaning back. You can even, grab a strap instead of interlacing your fingers. Like just meet yourself here, whatever it looks like without shame. On an inhale, we're all gonna squeeze our shoulder blades together. Let that heart center puff up. And with each inhale, fill this space. Feel it expand. And then exhale nice and slow. And we know what's happening, that vagal break, slowing the heart rate. Inhale, make space in the heart. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. Exhale, nice and slow. One more time. Inhale, reach the heart. Squeeze the shoulder blades. And then on your next exhale, rise up. Take your nice forward fold. Make space for the belly. Whew, just like we talked about, an opportunity to practice it once more. And then from this forward fold, walk your hands on over towards one side of the body. Whew. The hand, that can reach back behind you, you might do that. In this forward fold, you'll notice you can't reach far. Beautiful. Now that hand that's reaching back behind you, plant it by your side. On your inhale, reach that opposite arm. And then you notice, oh my gosh, all the range of motion you have here. Sweep it all the way back behind you. Let your gaze, your eyeballs follow those outstretched fingertips. And then exhale, bring it back. This time, don't stop. Thread it on through if it feels good. Hold it here. This is a closed twist. Anytime we twist across our body and scrunch our organs up and give them less space, give our pelvis less space, it's called a closed twist. And when you've got when you've got thighs, maybe you have two, maybe you just have one, you're all welcome here. And a belly, they compete. And what I find is, yet again, I'm rounding the spine instead of finding this big, beautiful twist. So gently pick up your big, beautiful belly or your sweet, tiny little belly and pull it on top of that thigh. And then when you go to thread that arm through, you might notice how your personal range of motion has yet again changed because it's never been your body that has kept you from these shapes. It is merely the lack of education of your teacher. On an inhale, when you're ready, sweep it back open. Exhale, close it up. Let's do 2 more breaths. And on your exhales, you might just gently reach down, slide the belly in, and then thread the arm through. Let your nourishment and your caretaking of self honor the flow. Because let me tell you, that is yoga. Rise up. Let us find that forward fold again. I know. Make space for the belly, just like we learned. And then when you're ready, walk the hands on over towards the opposite side. Once more, that hand closest to your back that can reach back behind you, you're just going to experiment. Reach, play. It's kind of hard, right? Then plant it down. On an inhale, opposite arm opens. Back behind you. Hold it here. Again, squeeze the shoulder blades together, right? We're opening up that heart space. Lift through. Oh, thank you, love. Lift through the top of the spine. Feel that bungee length you're creating that we talked about. And then oftentimes, this hand that's planted, my strong foundation, I like to lean into it. Don't do that. Press through that arm. Press down into the ground. Feel that arm lengthen. And then exhale, close it up. Thread that arm through. Ooh, did I just lose my microphone? Yes. And then as you thread this arm through again, as I face you, play with the belly. My microphone doesn't want to stay on, y'all. Sorry, YouTube microphone people. It doesn't like you. It loves you. All right, lift the belly. Hold that closed twist. Whew. Gosh, sometimes I get into spaces that I didn't know existed or that needed me to get into. Especially in the low back and hips, right? Making space for the belly and thighs. We really get into the spine and the low back. That is what we want. Inhale when you're ready, open it up. Exhale, thread it closed. Find your flow. And again, don't forget to make caretaking your beautiful shape a part of your flow. A few more breaths if it feels nice. I know we do this one a lot, but I guarantee you the whole of your body needs it. Rise up when you're ready. From here, we're going to play with another forward fold to Wild Thing Flow. For this, we're going to cross one leg, planting in front of us, planting the pad of that foot on the opposite inner thigh. Then we turn the heart center to align with the top of that extended leg as much as it wants to. Maybe our range of motion says no thanks, and if that's the case, we honor it, we let it be. From this space, an inhale, bungees the spine long. An exhale melts the heart down. And then you're going to notice, if you're like me and you've got the sweet body that's juicy, that the spine once again And I'm going to show you this from the side. Rounds, because our belly was never offered space. So rise up. We invite the belly towards the inside of this extended leg, and then turn the heart center and fold. And you might wait until you get further down into your fold to gently slide or tuck the belly, or you can even pull your inner thigh one way, right? Pull the inner thigh outwards as you roll that outer belly inwards to make space. And then fold the heart center down towards the leg. So we make space for our beautiful body. When you're ready, press through the heel of that foot, right? We engage through our strong foundation, wherever it is. This time it's the heel of the foot. And once the leg is engaged, pressing down, we then rise up, using the lower body to support the lifting of the upper body. So it's not just the low back. From here, we're going to find a wild thing. So whichever leg is extended out, on an inhale, you're going to sweep the opposite arm skyward. On your next exhale, you're going to plant it back behind you. Again, fingertips pointed away. Now, this might be where it feels good. You might sweep that opposite arm up and back, finding a nice twist here. That feels really, really good. You can also find a version of wild thing. What we do is this shin of this bent knee, we're going to press into the palm of the hand and roll up onto the shin. And we're pressing through the heel of this extended leg as we do to rise up strong. What we find is that if you squeeze those butt cheeks, press that pelvis skyward, version of wild thing. And then if you would like, melt the butt back down, sweep the hand down towards the earth. Ooh, play with this twist. You can really anchor the hands in and twist the heart. It's like animalistic. And hot damn. My back's popped like 3 times. All right. Whew. Rise back up. And then forward fold. Reach for that ankle, those toes. Let the forehead melt. You might start a flow and on an inhale, sweep the arm back, reaching and lifting if it feels right. Exhale, lower. Melt into your fold, make space for the belly. Let's do this twice more if it feels nice. And remember, the hips can stay planted, and this movement is still powerful. Not even abbreviated in its power. Beautiful. Rise up tall. Let's switch sides. Extend that left or the opposite leg out, bending that opposite knee, planting the pad of that foot. And then on an inhale, find the length. Put your clothes back on if that makes sense. On your exhale, melt. Make space. Roll the thigh out, the belly in. Whew. And then let the heart align with the top of the leg and melt down. We're still finding a length in this nice long spine. On an inhale, press through the heel, rise up. Opposite arm, extends back behind you. On an inhale of your choice, sweep that free arm skyward. You might lift through the pelvis, your version of wild thing. Hold, squeezing those butt cheeks, pressing that pelvis skyward, and then exhale, melt the hips. Come down into a messy fold. Make space. And you can flow with the breath. You can do it, inhale, rise up, exhale, lower, or maybe you take a few breaths to melt and a few breaths to rise. No one decides the best way to meet your body except you. You've just been taught you can't trust yourself. So be where you want to be. But find your flow for a few more breaths. Beautiful. From here, we're going to roll onto our bellies for a little bit to open up the front body a little more. When we are in Gomukhasana, there is a lot of intertwisting and pretzeling of the legs, but there is also a deep opening of our heart center. And Wild Thing is beautiful for that, keeping the arms interlaced behind the back, squeezing those shoulder blades together, that all opens up our heart center. And so does so much of the work that we can do on our bellies. So keep these moves in mind. Make your way onto your tummy. If you don't feel comfortable laying on your belly, this is where I'm going to recommend getting some padding. So you can place a blanket up while you lay down. You essentially place it at the bottom of the belly and the top of the thighs, and then lay on the belly. And what this does, and as I lay down, I'm literally like putting my apron belly over top of the blanket and then scooting it back and then coming down onto the earth. And this is wonderful for a and then coming down onto the earth. And this is wonderful for a lot of reasons. Getting lectured, it's like, are you still here because you haven't touched the screen? I promise, social media, I love you. So maybe you leave that blanket there. Maybe you pull it out and experiment without it. The blanket at the lower hips or at the lower thighs, it not only makes space for the belly, but when we open up the front body, it's gonna be an assist. So all the BS that we've been taught that props make yoga less hard or like less valuable, first of all, they don't know even what yoga is, if that's what they're saying. And second of all, it makes asana dope. And people with egos are missing out. So keeping the elbows tucked in towards the side body, planting the hands into the earth. You're going to ignore your arms altogether now. On an inhale, we're going to lift through the head and the heart. Oh, we're just using the muscles of our back body to do it. And it's okay if you're like, lift what? That is the point. Lifting will feel like even less if you have a blanket underneath here. And that is all right. That's because you can't use your pelvis like other folk to lift a little higher. And then release, relax, let go of all that effort. On your next breath in, lift through the head and the heart one more time, and then press through the palms of the hands. Let the arms lengthen. Decide how high you want to go. Maybe it's here, like in a halfway cobra. Maybe it's all the way extended. But know this is much easier for your muscles than this. So this looks more impressive, but it's actually easier. Wherever you are, so often what we find is that our low back hurts here. It's crunched. So in your beautiful body, your big body, you're going to tuck your tailbone in towards your heart while you hang out in cobra. So your tailbone, you're going to invite it up towards the heart center. And you might press back into a tabletop for a moment so that we can play with the pelvis here. Keeping the knees on that blanket or bolster. On an exhale, tuck the tailbone in. Feel that motion, right? Release to neutral, and then tuck it in again. Now, to find an even deeper stretch through the spine, drop the top of the head towards the earth. And then it's almost like you want to reach your forehead towards that tailbone. And you can do it by just pressing the neck towards the tailbone. Or you can press length into the arms and really curl it up. You decide what feels good. But that is tucking the tailbone in. Let's walk it back out nice and slow. You might even melt the pelvis down into your version of cobra, or you might lay all the way flat and then rise up. Either way, wherever you find yourself, tuck that tailbone in, lengthen through the back. Continue to lift through the heart and the head, really squeeze those shoulder blades back. We are opening our whole front body. And then we'll press back into a wide-legged child's pose. So here we widen our knees out, mat width maybe even wider. Bring the big toes together. First, walk the hands back, sit the hips towards the heels. Maybe they go a little, maybe they go a lot. Again, ego be damned. And then walk the heart down towards the earth. And as you do, maybe it's forearms, maybe you lengthen through the arms because this is opening the front body. And melt that chin towards the earth. And we're looking forward because again, it's stretching through the throat and the heart. And you can have your version of child's pose. You can also draw your knees together, but I find that that doesn't work for most. Literally walk the heart forward either on your forearms or literally slide it down on the earth until the hips are over the knees, and then separate the toes so they're also in alignment with the knees, and you found yourself in puppy dog pose. Now you can hang out just like this. Again, forearms are beautiful here. So be where the body says yes. And then you might even bend the elbow. Slide. We land on our mat one more time. Let's do some Superman pose. This is gonna strengthen the back body and open up the front body and prepare us for our Gomukhasana, which is next. Almost. Let me find my microphone again. Whatever, who needs microphones? For Superman, sweep your hands back behind you, palms up. On an inhale, you're gonna lift up through the head and the heart, just like we know, just like before. This time, press your fingertips back. Notice maybe you get another centimeter or an inch or two lift. This is our top half of our Superman. We feel dope and powerful here, lifting through the heart, and then relax, let it go. Next, we'll Superman the low body. So press through the toes, and as the whole of the legs engage, you might press the pelvis down and lift those feet skyward, keeping those toes pointed. And then slowly lower and melt. Now on your next breath in, I'll scoot forward so you can see more. On your next breath in, combine the two movements. On an inhale, point the toes, point those fingers back, lift. Breath in, combine the two movements. On an inhale, point the toes, point those fingers back, lift. Hold for a breath or two. Superman it out. And then on an exhale, melt. Let's do this twice more. Inhale when you're ready, rise up. Strengthening the back body, opening the whole of the front body. Squeeze those shoulder blades. And then exhale when you're ready, melt. One more time, rising on your inhale. Hold for a breath or two. And then lower down. Beautiful. You might curl the toes on the mat, press up into tabletop, and then let's do an optional pigeon pose. So I'm gonna place the blanket up here in front of me if I'm in tabletop, and then I'm gonna draw one knee forward, and then the knee that I pulled forward, check in with the foot, because I like to tuck the foot, the heel of the foot in towards my groin. With pigeon pose, we're often taught like this perpendicular thing, pulling it out. Your knee is a hinge joint. It's not meant to do that, and there are better ways to get into the piriformis. So pull the heel in towards the groin, and then when you're ready, you can press to the toes of that back extended leg. Make space for the belly, right? We pull it into this open area on the inside of the thigh and then melt. Maybe it feels good to hang out nice and low in this pigeon. Maybe you want to further open up the front body so you rise up tall. Now, the important part is as you lift through the front body, you also need to be tucking that tailbone in so that we're making space for the low back. Okay, and you can use blocks to rise up. You might rise up of your own strength. Heck, as you further open up the hip flexors in the front of the body, what you find is that, you ready for this? Let's see, hold on. Top of the foot. Can I do it today? What you find is, I'm gonna fall over, that you are much more mobile than you ever thought possible. So play with what feels good. Enjoy what your body is capable of, and we do not talk shit because years ago I was in so much chronic pain I couldn't sleep or exist or be. Okay, that's a long time to spend in pigeon. So bring it back out to your tabletop. Cat-cow. Back and forth. We know this one. And then when you're ready, that opposite knee pulls forward. We're going to plant the heel of that same foot in the groin. And then I like to come up on the toes of my back foot for some support as I slip it away, melting the top of the thigh. And then every time we honor our personal shapes, making space. Maybe you melt down for this one. Maybe you rise up. What is so important isn't how our body wants to be met in this moment. What's important is that we recognize that our bodies have never been offered the support that they deserve, and that they are way more powerful than we've ever known them to be because they've never been offered the support, because society sees them through a lens that is not true. And so here we unwrap and unravel our strengths, our gifts in exactly the body that we have. If it feels right, reach back. Dude, with a block, it was so much easier. With a block, it was so much easier. Now, can I, let go of the block? Not yet, boo. All right, let's come up into a seat. Now, I want to encourage you to use that blanket or a bolster, and then grab your blocks and your yoga strap or your dog leash, sitting up on the blanket. And I want to encourage you that the more beautiful and round your belly is, and depending on your body shape, it really doesn't matter what your weight is. If you have a beautiful round belly, Gomukhasana is going to be super challenging because we're crossing the thighs over top one another. And I don't know about you, but if I get my ankle up over top my thigh, I'm sitting cowboy style. I'm in the figure 4. I don't do the lady, you know? But that doesn't mean that we can't explore this beautiful posture in our body. So the more round and beautiful the belly, the more you're going to add to your seat, meaning maybe it's 2 blankets, maybe it's a couch cushion, maybe it's a body pillow or 2. And then Gomukhasana looks like this. We're going to take one leg and again bend it, planting the pad of that foot on the inside of the thigh. The leg that is extended, take a slight bend, plant the pad of the foot. And then going back to that first foot, we're going to slide it towards that opposite butt cheek. So this is my left foot, I don't know who I'm mirroring, going towards my right butt cheek. And then notice I'm literally lifting the flesh of my butt cheek away so that I'm almost sitting on the heel of that foot, if it feels right, backing it all the way up into my bolster and like pulling my beautiful peach flesh, my beautiful thigh flesh atop, making space. This right here, version 1 of the bottom half of Gomukhasana. If we want to continue with this, you might find version 2. You can grab a strap or without, We're gonna wrap it around the ankle and then cross the foot atop. Now, folks are gonna call this fire log pose, and it kind of is. So here we are, the second version of Gomukhasana. Now you might hold the foot, but the strap can be so nice because we can stay nice and long through the body as we hold this leg in place. So version 2 of the bottom half of Gomukhasana. Version 3 looks like this. We're gonna lift this top leg up and over. And as you do, again, pull that thigh flesh up and away. And in traditional Gomukhasana, this foot is going to be planted. It looks a lot like this. This doesn't feel good in my hips, and it's not doing anything good for my body or my self-esteem. So I'm going to grab a block, and I'm going to lift the earth up. And suddenly, I have so much more room for activities. So here are the different versions of Gomukhasana with the lower body that you can explore no matter your belly size, no matter the size of your thighs. The next thing we're gonna do is get into the arms. So let's release all of this because we gotta explore on the other side of our body anyway. And let's explore the arms. This is again where you might grab your yoga strap. I'm gonna turn around and show you. Gomukhasana arms. On an inhale, lift one arm skyward. Reach through those fingertips just as far as you can. Lengthen through your whole side body. And then as you exhale, keep the length, but bend the elbow, plant the hand at the back of the neck. And then you might reach that opposite arm up and just gently invite that hand to walk down the spine towards the tailbone. There's one arm. The other arm, on an inhale, tee it out wide. Press through those fingertips. And then this time, turn the palm behind you, thumb down. As you exhale, bend the elbow, reach that thumb up towards your fingertips. And in traditional Gomukhasana, like sometimes I grab my shirt, sometimes you might interlace. Woo, this is like the first time in my life this may have ever happened. You might interlace your fingertips. I've never done this before. Listen, poses are poses. This actually doesn't really feel good now that I'm in it. Here's how we accomplish this with a strap, because that's a freaking lot. You're going to create a bite. This is when you just grab your strap in the middle, thread your arm through it like a beautiful dangly bracelet, and then you're going to grab both straps that are dangling down in your arm. And now this is a bite. It's nice and strong. You can pull on it and the wrist is still supported. So you're gonna take that bite in your hand wherever you're seated. It doesn't have to be like me. You can sit cross-legged or legs extended or in a chair. On an inhale, reach that same arm skyward. Exhale, bend at the elbow, help it walk down the spine if it feels good. And then next breath in, squeeze the shoulder blades, tee the opposite arm out wide, turning the thumb down towards the earth, bend the elbow, reach for the strap. And then look, you can find this brace no matter how much space your shoulders are looking for in this moment. And the cool part is that once you find this anchor, pull on the strap. Feel that tension? Now use that tension to inhale, squeeze those shoulder blades together. You're opening up even further through the heart. Whew. All right, y'all ready? We're gonna try Gomukhasana on the opposite side of the body using all of these same techniques. First things first, ditch the strap, find your seat. Whichever leg that you had bent in front, you're gonna change it up. Draw the heel of that foot towards the opposite butt cheek. Lift that flesh over top. Make space for your body. Version 1. Ooh, bye, Jay. Now my 16-year-old is going in his car. He's driving away. He got a full-time job this summer. Oh, life is crazy. So, version 2, a bit of a fire log-ish Gomukhasana. Version 3, again, make space for the body. Don't be afraid to Play with your meat, your flesh. It's beautiful. It deserves your space, right? So hanging out like this, and then whichever knee is up, the opposite arm lifts. I'm gonna find a bite right now, because let me tell you, that bind ain't in it for me. Lift that arm skyward, bend through the elbow, plant the palm of the hand on the neck, and then use that opposite arm to walk the hand down the spine. From here, inhale, opposite arm out wide. Turn that palm back behind you. Bend the elbow, reach for the strap. Once you find that strap, on your next breath in, squeeze the shoulder blades together, open through the heart, and as you do this, squeeze the inner thighs together. So here we are in beautiful big bodies, finding Gomukhasana, finding these beautiful shapes that actually do wonderful things for our forms. Release when you're ready. Whew, that is a lot. Let's end things with some big twists. You're gonna love it. So roll onto your back, keep the knees bent, plant the pads of the feet. You might keep that yoga strap nearby because it is awesome when we're drawing knees up into the chest. So, body love. If I say draw your knees up into the chest and you don't give me a mental middle finger, you are so gracious. We're going to draw our knees up into the chest. But before we do, heel toe the feet out. Give your knees a little space for your sweet belly and thighs. And then instead of drawing them both up at once, which you do as you curl the tailbone in, right? So we're curling the pelvis in, curling the tailbone in, inviting the knees up. But instead of both at the same time, press through the pad of one foot, invite one knee up. You might brace it. You can even swing it out wide. Again, pulling the beautiful belly in, and then make space. Look at how much more space I have to hold my knee because I made space for my belly. And then you can literally swing the opposite knee out wide. Pull your beautiful belly inward and then pull the knees in. And sometimes a strap feels really enjoyable here, just like this. Sometimes you just want to hold the knees. Either way, we're going to take a rock to the left and right, like a little egg. And then let the knees fall over towards one side. Whew. You might tee the arms out wide if it feels nice, or you might bend the elbows and rest them on the rib cage. And then, whichever way the knees are pointing, invitation here to lift your head from the mat and turn it in the opposite direction of those knees, and then rest it back down. We are opening the spine up, twisting from tailbone to the top of the head. Dang. And then if you're looking for even more intensity here, see how the knees are stacked? We're going to pin them together. So squeeze the knees together. They're not going to move. They stay stacked. This top leg, point the toe, and then straighten that leg out. Nice and slow. It's like a ballerina or like a do-do-do Betty Boop move here. This gets even deeper into the hips and low back, and my back just popped 3 times. When you're ready, bend that knee back in, roll up towards the sky, make space for the belly here. You might even pause for a happy baby. Now, happy baby is when we intentionally open the knees wide, rock them up towards the armpit so that the belly already has tons of space with the thighs here. And then our goal is just to walk the hands up towards the feet. As the feet plant on the earth. So we're pressing through the heels, flexing the toes towards the heart as we walk the hands up towards that feet or towards those feet. And sometimes we want to grab the outsides of the feet. We might peace sign using our 2 fingers around the big toes. And again, wherever you are and you're happy, baby, there's space for you in your body. Roll left and right. Take a moment. Feel that sweet, sweet massage, that nourishment, that caretaking we're giving self. You might play with it. Play with the strap. Play with this inversion, right? Here we are with feet up, counteracting gravity. All of that excess fluid pouring down into the trunk of the body. This is so freeing. And I'm just using a robe tie or a yoga strap to do it. Sweet, sweet exploration. When you're ready, make space for the belly, bring the knees in towards the chest, and then roll both knees towards the opposite side that you folded to last time, or, yep, twisted to, excuse me, last time. And then find home for your arms. Where do they want to be? Maybe you sweep them up overhead. Maybe they're not even symmetrical. Like, explore for a moment. Oh, that feels nice. Maybe you lift the head, turn it opposite the knees, nestle it back down. Soften through your jaw and through your neck. Melt, let it go. We're twisting out all of the bullshit. All of the self-judgment that was handed to us. That's not true. It's just trauma. It's not true. It's the self-judgment that was handed to us. That's not true. It's just trauma. It's not true. It's And then draw it back in when you're ready. Maybe knees in towards the chest one last time, only if it feels good. And then if you have any energy still living in the body, right? If there's tension, if there's anxiety, if the mind is still really busy, it's a sign that we've got some stuff to release and an opportunity to do that here. You can take a deep inhale into the belly. Maybe you do this, maybe just watch. As you exhale, you're gonna draw the knees in towards the chest and then curl the forehead up towards the knees and hold. We're bundling into an egg. I like to imagine it's like an energetic seed. And as you hold this effort, we're doing sort of a crunch here. We're also engaging through the arms. What's happening here is that we are releasing energy that is hanging out stagnant in our body. Hold that intensity. The more energy that lives in you, the more intensely you might curl up into a seed. Hold this for as long as you like. Maybe the body trembles. And then when you're ready, release. You're going to begin to grow that seed out. Spread the arms and legs out wide, and then slowly melt down towards the earth. Take up space, bestie. Take up space. Take up space. Shame be damned. Ego be damned. Society ideals be damned. Our body is beautiful. Your body is beautiful. You are meant for these spaces. You are meant for this practice, and you belong here. And it's about time that the world held space for that truth so that we can start healing your trauma. Take a moment, give yourself a pat on the back, and then when you're ready, you might rock it up or roll onto your side and press up. We'll meet ourselves in a seat. It's like 90 degrees out. I've got my sweat on, even in the midst of all of our stretching. Take a moment and let it integrate. You might take both hands and place them atop the heart center. I don't want to mute you. Feel the heart cradle atop the heart center. I don't want to mute you. Feel the heart cradled in your hands, held there in this moment, and allow yourself time to just soak in your hard work. Whether you moved, whether you took some breaths, whether you allowed yourself a moment to just pause and listen, it was beautiful. It was nourishment. And it's a hell yeah from me, friend. Thank you for practicing with me. And remember that the light in the dark in me sees the light in the dark in you. And we are messy. And we are big. And we are beautiful. And we belong here. All right. Now I need some cold water and like a jump in a lake somewhere. Yay! Oh, thank you, beautiful humans. Thank you. Oh, Annette. BB, you are so sweet. Y'all, thank you for showing up. Thank you for hanging out. Simply your willingness to get curious with me is badass. Please know all the live classes that I teach on TikTok, on Zoom, on everything, multiple classes throughout the whole of the week, all times of the day, they're all free. I run a nonprofit, I founded a nonprofit that is accessible to all bodies and explores nervous system healing, trauma healing, mind body healing, which addresses chronic illness, chronic pain, and depression and anxiety, and all of these things that can result in neurodivergence, right? All of these things that can result in an enormous amount of trauma and a nervous system that needs our deep nourishment. And as you heal your nervous system, it's not just your mind body connection that heals. You realize how fucking worthy you are. You move through this place of owning how damn powerful you are and how you see life, how you interact with yourself and others. Everything changes the more we meet ourselves in these places. So, I post tips and tricks, but I love teaching the most. So let's hang out. All right. Aw, thank you, Courtney. Oh, yay! I like that you all enjoy it. I freaking love it. Oh, Live is like, girl, you've been hanging out too long. Oh, thank you for the gifts, Cheryl. Oh, thank you, y'all. Listen, life is full of suffering. And the point of our practice here isn't to upend suffering, isn't to end it for everyone. It's literally to hold space for what is, to learn how to reconnect with ourselves. And through the process, what you learn to realize is that suffering doesn't have quite the grasp on you that you thought it did once upon a time. So I love healing. It is my life's work. It is my passion, my special interest. It's to make suffering beautiful. So much art. How much art that we connect with comes from a place of suffering. Matter of fact, when we go through the Yoga Sutras, I teach a Yoga Sutra class. I teach a Yoga Sutra class. It's like a Yoga Sutra study. We just hang out and talk. Most of the time, people just hang out and drink coffee and work, and I talk at them about yoga philosophy, and it's a blast. But one of the things that we talk about is that life isn't about making suffering disappear, right? It's about being able to hold what is and hold ourselves and others in high regard in the process and watch how everything begins to change, because you don't need everyone else to do the work that you're doing for it to have an impact all around you. Once you own what you deserve, once you realize that all of your suffering has led you even more swiftly to this place of awareness, because life happens a few different ways. Either we go through it without much perceived suffering or conflict or trials or grief, and because of that, we lack awareness, both for ourselves and others. We're not ever having to explore our deep emotions, so we're not ever wondering about if other people feel the same thing, if ever they suffer as well. And so as we find more intersectionalities in our identities, the more intersections we have, the more opportunities that there are to be confronted with awareness and to awaken that awareness. And so that's why you find that the more marginalized an identity a person has, the more often they are willing to speak up the loudest, to speak up the first, to speak up the hardest, because they know what it's like to suffer, and they know that they are worthy of more than that, and they are going to work for better for them and everyone around them, right? It's a suffering that comes with empathy and awareness. And so suffering in many ways can be a gift. I know that's like, right? Let's be careful with that one. But in many ways, it's a step up. and a step into awareness. And that's why we have all of these, cis white boys struggling to keep up because they've never had to create awareness for anybody but themselves or at all. They haven't even had to do that because everyone else has had to create awareness for them. All right. I love you, beautiful humans. It is 6:15. I'm definitely going to be back. I'll hang out midday Monday, and then I will be back again for Fat Friday live on. I'm definitely going to be back. I'll hang out midday Monday, and then I will be back again for Fat Friday live on TikTok and then YouTube. I'll love you, and I'll figure you out because you're not supposed to be on that camera. You're supposed to be on this camera, and we're all supposed to be watching the same thing. So. You guys didn't know that I teach somatic yoga, therapy, and trauma healing and neuroeducation. And then also I design websites and pretend that I work in tech. One of those things is much more true than the other, but you can decide. Yes, hydrate. You can see. Hell yeah. Thank you for being here. Death, not no rage. Yeah, there's definitely not no rage. That's right. That means there definitely is. And it's righteous. And it's a part of processing life. Yay. Yes, you're honoring your mom when you take care of yourself. I so agree. All right, gorgeous humans. If you sign up for classes or on my website on the homepage, I think you can sign up. There's a link in my bio here for the website. My website, I made it myself. You can see my skills. But you can sign up for the newsletter, and in it, I have a link for Discord. I also think that's on the bottom of the homepage of the website too. And we can hang out outside of class. We have a ton of badasses that are shedding their shame and owning their worthiness in exactly the body that they have, with all sorts of different shapes, sizes, ethnicities, illnesses, and intersectionalities. So let's hang out. All right. Take care, gorgeous humans.